Hello everyone, Chris Assis here, and today we're going to be working in a little bit more of a relaxing way, still though, looking into understanding how we can release the cross, how we can release the hips while we are in a cross position. So we are going to start on the floor, but we're going to make our way up the standing gradually. The reason for that is I want to give you as many options as possible for you to find a practice path that feels good for you. So some people might be more tango focused, some people might want to have a little bit of a yoga influence, some people might want to have a little bit of a fitness influence, different styles. So we can find you can find the video hopefully uh, in every session, in every little package theme that fits better for you. And if you have any ideas, you can send them over, and I can hopefully find ways to include them in future videos. So today we haven't done this for a long time. It's going to be a little bit more relaxing, but still under the same umbrella of hip mobility and connecting and understanding how our leg moves inside the hip and how can that help us find a flowy way of getting out of a cross. So get into something comfy and off we go. So sit comfortably, and we're going to start with examining how our feet um, can start to move and create movement in the rest of the body. So don't separate the movement from of the base of the feet from the rest, but start the movement from there. So you initiate, you see how my toes are the first ones to start moving, and then the rest of the foot, and then the rest of the leg and the hip and the body and the feet, even to, if you notice, to into the other foot that's pretty much, stationary on the floor, but there's a slight movement, a slight adjustment to allow for our balance and for that reaching. So it shouldn't feel like a lot of work. On the contrary, it should feel very relaxing. And we're just examining how a change in orientation of the foot changes the position of our leg bone in our hip. So we're just trying to feel that because that affects a lot our steps and our crosses that we were working on last week. So we're just trying to feel how a slight change in the base, in like that rolling that we find that we do every step we take, changes how our leg moves inside our hip and how our hip moves around our leg and how our body moves to accommodate all of this that's happening. So move slowly. You can go at my speed or you can go slower and just notice. Then you can take this further, and still you're starting from the base, you're starting from the feet, and you're changing the orientation of the two legs, but this time both legs are a little bit more active. It's the same principles though, only you see how one leg wants to extend outward a little bit when the other one comes in. So here we're not only looking for that flowy movement, we're definitely looking for that, but we're also looking at the timing and how when one foot comes in closer, the other one wants to go a little bit out. And here you can see it a little bit more clearly as one leg comes towards you, towards the camera, and the other one comes in towards me. So notice these things and don't try to hit a specific position that you see in the video. Just notice where your body wants to go. Now, if we find ourselves here and we feel comfortable enough, you're going to settle over the front hip. and we're gonna see how a movement in the body can change the way we experience our hips. Now, you see, you want to reach your tummy into that empty space over your front calf or over your front ankle. So as you can see, I'm not going straight over my knee. Instead, I'm going to align my armpit with my knee, and I'm going to let my body fill up that triangle that I'm creating between my legs and my hips. And you don't have to go all the way down to the floor, you just go wherever you feel good. You should be feeling a gentle stretch at the sciatica. So, um, if I can give you an idea of that position, of the stretch position, it is almost where the hips meet, the two ears of our pelvis meet. So somewhere around there. It shouldn't be a very intense stretch. On the contrary, it should be very calming and very soothing. It should allow you to settle. So, and this is very important in all positions, especially in positions of stretching. Try not to stretch away from your position, but try to see if with every breath you can settle a little bit deeper into the position you're at the moment, and just examine it and be in it. So here we're going to start getting prepared for walking. So see, I want you to think about this as the extension for the back step. So you want to feel, even when you're going to be standing, just giving you some extra information here, you want to feel how that the free leg reaches back every time. And if we can find a position that is stabilizing, secure, and comfortable, and it's a position where you can move from. So let's see how that transition happens, and I'm going to be changing angles as well so you can see it better. So we start from here, our classic position. We start to turn. One leg wants to come closer, the front leg. The other leg wants to go a little bit further out, and we carry on. We take this further. We were going to be settled over our front shin. And as you can see, my heel is a little bit turning out and my big toe is a little bit turning in. And my body is not square, it's a little bit like a triangle. My right hand will be a little bit more forward than my left. And you'll be able to see that a little bit better when I change my angle. Now, what I want you to focus on mostly is that extension of the leg and how that orientation changes now when I'm trying to come back to square. So a change in the base, a change in the sole of the foot. Let's see what happens. Starts to reach back, and then see how my heel starts to rearrange itself and allows me to settle over the front. And here you can see the body a little bit better, so you can see that it's not really square, but my spine follows, as you can see, a line that is comfortable. You don't see any strain, and I'm not feeling any strain. On the contrary, it feels awesome. So you can settle here, stay as long as you like, and then see how the change at the base of the foot allows for my leg to start to turn inside the hip, and that is vital for these crosses. That's one of the main reasons why we get stuck. In this position, you will be able to see a little bit more of the upper body. So as I settle and allow for my back foot to find its place in a full extension, one hand is a little bit more forward than the other, and the movement itself will allow you to find the perfect position for you. But notice that, again, similar to the previous version with both knees were bent, I'm finding this empty triangular space where I can rest my body, or when you can be on the floor like me, or you can stay standing, but still is in that space, not square over the knee. You can stay here for as long as it feels good. I'm gonna make my way up to standing nice and gently. Same, the foot changes there, the orientation of the whole leg inside the hip. And because we spent some time sitting down, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to start translating things to standing. So let's see. We start, find a comfy chair. If you don't have a comfy chair, it doesn't matter. But a comfy chair will allow you for a little more rolling. And again, similar to what you were doing down on the floor, but here you will allow for more movement in the ankle. But start from the toes, like I'm doing here. And see, my toes are saying hello to you. And so try to do the same thing and allow for the whole leg to move following that spark from the toes. And you want to feel in the metatarsal, or the ball of the foot as we call it, that rolling. So you're rolling from your baby toe to the big toe and reverse. And you're noticing how that translates into the knee, into the hip, and into the upper body. And of course, you change feet. Notice here that my position is not square. My knee is not right in front of me, like you see here, but it's falling a little bit out, following the natural curve of the hips, because or the natural geometry of the hip joint and the connection to the leg bone. So because our bones are not square, when we come up, when we bring our knees up, they would want to open up just a little bit from in that initial position. So try to be aware of that, not try to and avoid strict straight lines. So there's always a little bit of an arch in everything that we do, and your hips are gonna feel a lot better if you allow for the knees to open up just a tiny little bit when you're bringing that knee up. So now it's time to bring all of that into a step. We start from this funny looking exercise without any help from any chair. Notice that the base foot is doing exactly the same roll, from the baby toe to the big toe and reverse as the free leg. Place on the outer part of your foot, and as you roll forward, you're not only rolling forward, but you're also rolling from the outer part of the foot to the inner part of the foot. Do a couple rolls forward and back, feeling that change, and notice that the back foot is doing exactly the same roll. This is very, very important. Many times we try to do our steps square, and again, unfortunately, our body movement is not that simple. Things are not as straight as they might look. So try to find that rolling from the outer part to the inner part of the 2 feet, as well as the rolling from the back foot to the front. So as you can see in my hand, it almost makes like an S. And you do the same thing, of course, on the other side. Don't forget to find that same rolling here as you stand, and you can see the toes of my standing foot working as well. So it's not that we're trying to stay still. That's almost impossible. And again, you find that roll. And if you see my upper body, it allows for that movement. It translates, that movement from the legs translates up above. And I'm just using my hands here just to show you that little that S that is happening. But if you relax your arms like I'm doing now, they will naturally gently swing without you having to do really nothing. If you relax the arms by your side, they will swing following that S. So some back steps, and here is that moment. When I discovered this, I was so happy. It was a real revelation. So when you extend back, feel that the big toe is going down first, similar to that nice stretch that we did right there, right before we came up. And then the same rolling happens. You roll from your big toe to the baby toe, and you do a couple of rolls and allow for the floor to massage your feet. Here, aside from the technical things that you might be thinking about, you don't want to feel that this is a lot of work. You want instead to let your body find the patterns that is comfortable working in. That is, the patterns that are automatically built into our bodies, the patterns that we were built to follow, so, while walking and doing all sorts of human nature stuff. And now our crosses. So again, notice that knee in the starter's position, that it's not square, is already slightly out. You cross over, baby toe on the floor. As you roll both feet. And that makes it now, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Your weight was on one foot and you want to transfer it over to the other. So why do we usually get stuck in our crosses and we try to keep that back heel on the floor, and then we push and becomes such a jerky action? So roll. One foot rolls from the baby toe to the big toe. The other foot rolls from the big toe to the baby toe. Just centering myself here. You don't need to shift over. Open position for the knee. And you start going from one side to the other. Just a couple of them. Getting more and more feedback of this movement. Baby toe from the front foot, for the front foot, rolls to the big toe, and big toe to baby toe for the back foot. Also notice that is not a square action. It has a little bit of a turn. Allow for the, we are going to allow that to happen. And so this is just a zoom in to give you a better idea of how the rolling works. I want you to pay attention to the base, to see that my weight is shifting from the right to the left slightly, from the inner part of the foot to the outer part. And now how I am not blocking the movement of the base. I let it translate up top, similar to what we were doing before when we were on the floor. Of course, in a cross, things might be a little bit more subtle, but these movements do happen. We exaggerate them here for the exercise, but they are also very present in our walks and our crosses. So please go ahead and really roll out those feet, massage the feet on the floor, really exaggerate, and take all your focus to the base. So start changing the orientation of your feet and see what that change creates for the rest of the body. And last but not least, we're going to put everything together. So Of course, we start with that exercise. We roll forward. We do it again. And we add our cross. And despite the fact that we are now, we've built a little bit of a sequence for ourselves, we don't want to go in full tango motion. We want to stay in focus of this exaggerated roll of the foot and noticing how it affects the rest of the body. And again, it's not only the focus that stays the same, but it also is the quality of the movement. So we're really trying to exaggerate here. Of course, you don't dance like this, rolling out your feet on the floor and being like super, super exaggerated with the ankle moves, unless, I don't know, you want to, embellish in some way. But you want to have that same feeling, the same sensation. You want to have feedback of that experience. So in order to make that to make your mind capture that feedback, even when you're just dancing, you're not practicing in such a focused way like we're doing here, we need to give our mind a little bit of time and some exaggerative clues so it will know what to look for. And well, when we are just walking or when we are dancing on the dance floor. So exaggerate here so you can simply relax and just move in all the good ways, not the bad ways of just while on the dance floor. So take good care of your base of your feet, because they really, whatever they do, it really translates to the whole body. So happy feet can give us happy dancers, happy people. This is it. I hope you enjoy this. You should feel quite relaxed after all this. It should feel like you've gotten a nice massage in the feet. You can do only the first part or only the second part of this video. I made it this way so the two parts can have the same focus, but they can work separately. So feel free to do that. Maybe you want to insert the first part in your yoga practice or something like that. But try to keep the focus the same, meaning how any change that happens at the base will affect the upper body. And because our hands and our feet work in the same way, I'm just going to use my hand to show you how this rolling, if there's no unnecessary tension in the way, will affect the shoulders. Similar things, as you noticed, I hope you noticed, happen when we're doing this rolling on our feet. The legs move inside the hips move around the legs, and the rest, the spine just comes in and makes this spiral. So aim for flow and aim for a good marriage between the hip and the leg bone. So if you're feeling similar to a shoulder joint, things like that happening, press unnecessary pressure in the hips, you might need to, while you're doing these exercises, you might need to look a little bit deeper into this relationship and make it a relationship between the two surfaces that is nice, that feels good. It's a good marriage. It's a good, healthy marriage. It's a good, healthy relationship with space between the two surfaces and communication. So aim for these things. Take your time, separate the parts if you feel that you need to, but have that marriage in mind. And we'll talk a bit further into this in the videos to come. So send me any questions, any trouble that you might have encountered while doing these exercises. I'm trying to tackle here questions like should I be feeling lower back pain? Should I feel that my hips are tight when I'm dancing? I'm getting questions like that. So if you have been having trouble like this in your knees and your hips and your lower back, your shoulders, please send me a message and we'll go deeper into it so we can all enjoy painless tangos. So till next week, enjoy.